Hello children, welcome to Kitchen Basics 101. In this course you're going to learn the very basics of cooking. Um, Today we're going to start with just some kitchen safety, and I'm also going to show you the measurements of the measuring cups and how to add them together to get certain measurements or subtract them to get certain measurements, because when you're cooking you're most likely going to have to double a recipe or cut it in half, so you're going to have to know how to do that. First thing, okay, whenever you're going into the kitchen to cook anything, first thing you need to do is wash your hands. People want to know that your hands are clean if you're going to be messing with the food that they're going to be eating. So that's the first thing you always need to do is wash your hands. Some safety things, of course you all know, don't play with the knives. Knives in the kitchen are very sharp. So when you're cutting meat or anything, bread, anything, butter, you want to be very careful, making sure that you're not cutting your fingers, making sure that you're not playing around with the knives so that you don't cut anybody else as well. If you're going to be on the stove, you want to make sure that there is no plastic on the stove, no towels on the stove. Anything that can burn that should not be on the stove shouldn't be there. So you need to make sure that that area is clear of any plastic or towels, anything like that. Also, you want to make sure your hair is pulled back. You don't want to get hair in food, so putting your hair back into a ponytail or having it covered or something, it's good practice. Also, if you're wearing fingernail polish, it's best if you can wear gloves if you have them. If not, then just try not to put your hands on the food too much so that fingernail polish doesn't fall off. Dealing with raw meat. Now you 7th graders probably won't be doing that too much, but just in case you're helping out in the kitchen with your parents or something, when you're dealing with raw meat, if you have to touch the meat with your hands, after you're done, you need to wash your hands with soap and water immediately. You don't want to go touching on cabinets and towels and other dishes with the stuff from the raw meat on your hand, with the bacteria from raw meat on your hand, because it can make everybody in the house sick. Also, you don't want to, if you use a knife to cut raw meat, you don't want to go straight and use that on vegetables or fruit or anything else. You need to wash that dish first. It's called cross-contamination if you cut that meat and then go cut something else, and that too can make you sick. Also, if you using a cutting board, don't use the same cutting board for meat that you use for your vegetables and other foods. You need to use a different cutting board. And also, there are going to be cleaning supplies in the kitchen. You want to make sure that those toxic cleaning supplies are not near the food. You don't want to spray around the food or leave it stored near the food. That needs to be in a different place. Last thing, when you're done cooking or baking or anything in the kitchen where you're involving heat, make sure everything is turned off. Do not leave the stove on. Do not leave the oven on. Don't leave the toaster plugged up. Don't leave the griddle on. Make sure all that is turned off and unplugged if it needs to be unplugged. Alright, so that's everything with the food safety that I can think of right now. Now I'm gonna teach you all about these things, measuring cups. So standard measuring cup set is gonna have teaspoons, tablespoons, and cups. So this one has a 1/4 of a teaspoon, a half a teaspoon, a tablespoon, which is different from a teaspoon, you have to pay attention to that, 1/4 of a cup, a half of a cup, and 2/3 of a cup. And I also have a 1 cup here. It's supposed to have a 1/8 of a cup too. That's not here at the moment. So of course when you're cooking, you have to make sure there are recipes you can follow, and it tells you the amount of food and seasoning and all of that to have, so you can know, and that corresponds to the number of people that you're feeding. So on these measuring cups and tablespoons, teaspoons measurements, it actually says it right on there. So here you can see on the handle how it says 1/4 teaspoon, and teaspoon is TSP. So you can see that on the handle. This one has half of a cup on the handle right here. And these also have, these are actually marked with 2 measurements. On the handle is 1 measurement, and then half of what's on that handle is on the inside. So you can see 1/4 here, and then on the inside it's actually marked 1/8 of a cup. On some measuring cups, it'll be on the side here maybe. So, but most times it's on the handle, the size of the measurement. These, you can combine a number of these to make the same amount. So for instance, if a recipe calls for 1 cup of milk, but you only have a half cup measurement, then you can do 2 half cups to make 1 whole cup. Same thing if a recipe calls for 1/3 of a cup of milk. Well, you can do a half cup of the 2/3 cup. Instead of doing the whole thing, you can just do a half of the cup of the 2/3. If something calls for 1/3 cup of something, but you only have the 2/3 cup measurement cup. So basically, cooking, baking, whatever you're gonna be doing involves math. You're gonna have to add these fractions sometimes, and sometimes subtract them, multiply them, whatever it may be. So you really need to understand how to double these, and how you can use the measuring cups to do that. One thing you should know, like I told you, a teaspoon and a tablespoon are different, and 3 teaspoons, not 2, 3 teaspoons equals 1 tablespoon. So if you wanted to cut a tablespoon in half, you would have to do 1.5 teaspoons, because 1/2 plus 1/2 is 3, and 3 teaspoons equals 1 tablespoon. So half of a tablespoon is 1.5 teaspoons. 1 whole tablespoon is 3 teaspoons. So if you're doing fractions right now in school, or if you've already done it, this is going to be good practice for you when you start cooking. Let's see, what's another example I can give? Okay, also in an entire cup, like this one, we have 16 tablespoons makes an entire cup. So it's really good to know these things for when you're missing certain size measuring cups, but you have another one, and so you know, okay, well, I can do this many of this one if I don't have this particular measuring cup. Let's see what else. Also, you might have to do some weird stuff like, I don't know, maybe you don't have a half cup or a whole cup, and all you have is a 2/3 of a cup. Well, 2/3 of a cup plus 1/3 is a whole. So if you have a 2/3 cup, all you have to do is 1 full cup of the 2/3 cup, and then do half of the 2/3 cups, and that equals an entire cup. So I want you to remember these, and I want you to practice these. Maybe if you have measuring cups at home, get them, look at them, practice them. Ask your parents to come up with different scenarios where you have to double a recipe, or cut it in half, or maybe triple it, or cut it by thirds, so you can practice knowing how to replace um, different measurements with other measurements, or just combining them to make bigger measurements. Alright, so I'm gonna pause this. Okay, so now just gonna introduce to you just a few of the things we use in the kitchen. Very basic. You probably already know these, but we're just gonna go over them anyway. So first one is a slotted spoon. Give me a minute. Okay, so this is a slotted spoon. We use this for like maybe vegetables when you don't want you want the vegetables but not the water or the juice. So yeah, anything where you're wanting the substance but not really the juice with it, you can use the slotted spoon for it. This is just a regular spoon. You can use this to pick up like macaroni and stuff like that, or rice. That'd be a good one for rice. And of course, we have the spatula. Use these for pancakes, eggs, pretty much a whole lot of different things. And we have a ladle here. It's a ladle. You can use this for soup, or even a punch bowl. Anything where you're having to dip in and get a whole lot of liquids. It helps to keep the liquid in there so it's not falling all over the spoon. And then we also have a whisk. Mostly you're going to be using this in like baking, but in cooking, you'll probably use this if you're going to make like gravy or something from scratch, so you can whisk that flour really good and get it real fine and mixed into the liquid. And also use this to make whipped cream. Just whipping the heavy whipping cream. You could use it to whisk your eggs, but most people just use a fork to beat their eggs. Like I said, you're not really going to use this a whole lot in cooking. You're probably using more if you do baking. And hold on one second. Just close this. Okay, so and then the last one are tongs. Yeah, this one, and you may also see the more high-end kind, I guess. I don't know. Like we have these little plastic ones, and then we have these metal ones here. You can use these for a salad, picking up the salad out the bowl. You can also use, like, if you have meat like bacon or sausages or something, you can use these to pick up individual things like that. Or even vegetables. If you have like a vegetable tray or a fruit tray, you can use this for that kind of stuff too. Okay, so that's it for today's lesson. There will be a quiz that I'm gonna post for you guys. So, well, I'll either post it or I'll print it out and give it to you Sunday. I'll see. Alright, so just make sure you go and study that. Rewatch it for the safety tips and help the the safety tips that we discussed in the beginning, because that's going to be on the test. Make sure you practice the measuring cups and ask your parents to give you examples, or ask them to come up with some little test questions for you where they give you one measurement, but you have to write another way to write that measurement, if that makes sense. So if they say another way you can make 1 cup, then you can write half cup or 16 tablespoons or 2/3 of a cup plus 1/3 of a cup. So ask them to do that kind of stuff with you so you can learn that, because that's also going to be on the test. Alrighty, so that's all for today. Make sure you watch it again if you need to and study. Alright.